Hello and welcome to 5 Minutes English. I'm Alex.
And I'm Mia. It's absolutely wonderful to be here with you all today.
So, Mia, I have a bit of a confession to make. The other day, my teenage nephew asked me for help with his history essay. I was ready to open a textbook, but instead, he just typed his homework question into an AI chatbot. He got a beautifully written essay in about 5 seconds.
Wow, 5 seconds? You know, that is becoming incredibly common these days. Today, we are discussing the explosive rise of artificial intelligence, or AI, in schools. It's a topic that is dividing teachers, parents, and students all around the world.
It really is. Some schools are completely banning AI tools from their networks, while others are actually teaching students how to use them effectively. It feels like a very complicated issue.
Absolutely. And that brings us to our first key phrase for today, a double-edged sword. When we say something is a double-edged sword, we mean it has both positive and negative consequences. It can help you, but it can also hurt you at the same time.
That's a perfect way to describe AI in education. On one hand, the negative side of this double-edged sword is the massive fear of plagiarism.
Plagiarism is the act of taking someone else's work or ideas, or in this modern case, a machine's work, and passing it off as your own. Teachers are terrified that students will simply stop writing their own original essays.
Exactly. If an AI writes everything for you, you aren't really learning the material. More importantly, you aren't developing your critical thinking skills.
Critical thinking is the ability to carefully analyze information objectively and make a reasoned judgment. It's about questioning the world around you and not just accepting whatever you read online. If a computer does all the deep thinking for a student, they might lose this vital life skill.
That's a very valid concern. I read an article recently about a university professor who caught half of his class using AI to cheat on their final exams. The essays were grammatically flawless, but they completely lacked any real human emotion or unique perspective.
It must be incredibly frustrating for educators right now. They have to constantly act like detectives to check if a student actually wrote the paper. You know, Alex, this whole debate actually reminds me of when calculators were first introduced into math classrooms decades ago.
Oh, that's a brilliant comparison. How so?
Well, back then, many math teachers were furious. They thought calculators would destroy students' ability to do basic arithmetic. They worried that kids wouldn't learn how to add or multiply on paper anymore.
And now, calculators are just a standard tool in almost every advanced math class. We use them to solve complex problems faster, not to avoid learning math.
Exactly. Perhaps AI language models are just the modern calculators for writing and research. Because of this, there are actually many educators who want to embrace this new technology rather than run away from it.
To embrace something means to accept it enthusiastically. Instead of fighting against AI, these teachers want to use it as a powerful tool to improve education. But how exactly can they do that safely?
Well, one of the biggest benefits is personalized learning. In a traditional classroom, a teacher has to teach 30 students at the exact same pace. But with AI, the educational experience can be tailored to each individual student.
Right, so personalized learning means adapting the teaching style, speed, and content to fit the specific needs, strengths, and weaknesses of an individual learner.
Precisely. Imagine a student who is really struggling with algebra. An AI tutor can patiently explain the exact same concept in 10 different ways until the student finally understands it. It never gets tired, it never gets angry, and it doesn't judge you for asking too many questions.
That sounds incredibly useful. It really levels the playing field for students who might not be able to afford expensive, private human tutors. AI can also help teachers by grading multiple choice tests automatically, giving them more free time to actually talk and interact with their students.
Exactly. It seems that the technology itself isn't naturally good or bad. It's all about how we choose to use it. If we use AI to do the heavy lifting of grading, teachers can focus on building relationships and encouraging that critical thinking we mentioned earlier.
So instead of completely banning it, maybe schools need to teach AI literacy. Students need to learn how to ask the AI the right questions, how to fact-check the information it provides, and how to use it as a brainstorming assistant rather than a ghostwriter.
I completely agree. The future is digital, and we can't hide from it. We have to teach young people how to navigate this new world ethically and responsibly.
Well, that was a truly fascinating discussion, Mia. Before we run out of time, let's do a quick review of the vocabulary we covered today. First, we talked about a double-edged sword.
That is a situation, decision, or tool that has both positive and negative aspects.
Then we had plagiarism, which is copying someone else's work, or an AI's work, and pretending that it is your own original creation.
Next was critical thinking, the ability to carefully analyze information and form your own independent judgment.
We also discussed what it means to embrace something. To embrace means to eagerly and enthusiastically accept a new idea or change.
And finally, personalized learning, an educational approach customized to the learning speed and specific needs of each individual student.
Brilliant! Thank you so much for joining us for another episode of 5 Minutes English. We hope you learned something new today.
Have a great week, everyone. See you next time. Bye.
Goodbye!